welcome to Math Talk. I'm your host, Brian Heisler. And we are nearing the end of October, which means it's Halloween. And what many people think is the best part of Halloween is eating a whole bunch of Halloween candy. So I thought, why not make a video about some Halloween candy probability? So let's get started. So in 2019, there was a poll by Monmouth University that asked 1,161 people, what is your favorite Halloween candy? And these were the results that they found. There's a wide variety here, from Reese's to Snickers to Skittles to Tootsie Pops, and then just a variety of other candies. So we're going to take a look at some questions that use this data and see what we get. Let's assume that those 1,161 votes were actually just pieces of candy. So for every vote, we turn it to a piece of candy. We put all 1,161 of them in this giant bucket for Halloween, and people are going to choose the candy at random, and the percentages and breakdown of those candies are below. So there's this giant Halloween bucket with 1,161 pieces of candy, and that is how many of each there are. So there's 36% Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, 18% Snickers, etc., etc. All right. And then we have a question that says, what is the probability that either a Hershey bar or a Tootsie Pop is selected? So there's a couple of things you want to know and remember with probability. Remember that probability is basically how many desired outcomes are there divided by the total number of possible outcomes. Another way to look at probability is basically what is the percent chance that something's going to happen? How likely is it to happen? And a lot of times that is determined by percentages. So we are going to take that information as well as the information about the fact that in probability terms, OR means add and AND means multiply. So if you're looking for the probability of this or that, you're going to add the probabilities together. If you're looking for the probability of this and that, then you're going to multiply the probabilities together. So we're going to use that information to solve this question. So I need Hershey bar or Tootsie Pop. So I'm going to add those two together because I have the word OR. And my Hershey bar plus my Tootsie Pop is going to be the 6% plus the 2% based on the data on the left, which is just 8%. So the probability that this is going to happen, if I were to just randomly pick out of that giant bucket, the probability that I would get a Hershey bar or a Tootsie Pop is about 8%. So it's not a very high probability. Okay, let's look at one more example. We have that same bucket of 1,161 pieces of candy, and we're asked, what is the probability that someone chooses a piece of candy corn, puts it back, and then chooses a Starburst? So it's important to note the phrase that they put it back, because what that does, if they didn't put it back, it would actually change the probability a little bit, because when they go to choose their second piece of candy, there's less candy to choose from, so it changes the probability and how you figure it out. But because they put it back, it's you're choosing out of 1,161 the first time, and then out of 1,161 the second time. So that's good for us to know, and we're going to use that to solve this problem. So remember that in probability, OR means add, and means multiply. So this time I am choosing one thing and choosing another. So I'm going to multiply. I'm going to take my candy corn, I'm going to multiply it by my Starburst, which is 6% times 4%. Now one thing to keep in mind here is that with the probabilities, I can't just do 6 times 4 to get 24 and say, oh, my answer is 24%. That's unfortunately not how it works with probability. Remember that when you're looking at doing something and something else, the probability should be a lot less, not a lot more. So 24% is a lot more likely than 6 or 4%. And the reason for that is because when you change your percents to decimals, you get 0.06 times 0.04. And when you type that in your calculator, you actually get 0.0024. So remember, to turn decimal points into percentages, you either multiply by 100 or take your decimal point and move it to the right twice. So if I take my decimal point here, I move it to the right twice, I go 1 and 2. that actually turns into 0.024%. And so that is actually unbelievably unlikely to happen. It's 0.25%. To give you some perspective, that's actually less than 1 out of 400. So think about it. Let's say you pick a piece of candy, you put it back, and you pick another piece of candy. And you do that 400 times. The odds are that you're going to get candy corn and Starburst one time when you do that. And it's not even that good. It's just less than that. 1 out of 400 is 0.25%. So, that's going to happen less than 1 out of 400 times. That's crazy. So it's really not likely that it's going to happen. So I hope this helps when you get to questions that ask about probability and taking data to solve questions about probability. Remember that when you look at probability, if you see the word or, it means add. If you see the word and, it means multiply. I'm curious to know, what is your favorite Halloween candy? I was thinking about it for a little bit and trying to figure out what mine was, and I couldn't really come up with one, but I narrowed it down to 2. And so I had to go with a Baby Ruth bar and a Snickers bar. Those are probably 2 of my favorite Halloween candies. Well, thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe.
If you have any other questions or you need assistance and you live in the Palm Beach County area, visit our website at geds.com to find a location near you and sign up for classes.